Greetings, Wargamers. We're your hosts, Trevor,
Jay,
Josh, and this is Chain Attack.
Chain Attack is sponsored by Discount Games Incorporated. Discount Games Incorporated specializes in customer service, low prices, and prompt shipping. You can find our web store at www.discountgamesinc.com.
Welcome to Chain Attack. I'm your host, Trevor, and I'm getting soft in my old age.
We all do. I'm Jay, and I have to admit, this is one of the grading episodes I'm most excited for in a really long time. So,
I'm Josh, and even the 8-year-old child deep inside my heart has so many questions.
So we're going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett today. We can, I guess, before we do things for Discount Games Inc. I'm trying to think of what cool. When this comes out, there will have just released a bunch of cool X-Men and Brotherhood of Mutants models for Marvel Crisis Protocol, and the Eldritch Omens box should still have some inventory that you can check out and purchase and fill that game-shaped hole in your heart and experience joy from purchasing at Discount Games Inc.
That's such a good name, too. Eldritch Omens. I want it just
It
for the
is.
name.
So, do either of you have anything before we dive into grading the Book of Boba Fett?
I mean, Trevor, are you winning at World of Tanks?
That's a very subjective term. I have won some games.
I mean, you're spending a lot of time doing this event, and do you get the equivalent of a participation trophy for doing this, or what is the reward?
So the reward that everyone wants is there is a tank that is a reward. It is called the T-95 Chieftain. Basically, it's a British tank that was dominant during the 60s, 70s era, and is still in use today in many places. Anyway, in the game, it is broken. It is frankly, it is the worst type of creep possible, and the only place you can get it is through grinding clan wars, and it is so broken that basically all the top clans require you to have one.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, it gets used in all of the major competitions. It's super strong. It needs to be nerfed. But anyway, that is the reward, and it's why it's so hotly contested. And the funny thing is the way the system works is the top clans get really, really far ahead of everyone else, to the point where they've guaranteed, say, 10 players are going to get the free tank, and then they basically carry all the other players to that height as well. And everybody else who cannot do that sort of thing have to basically play every single game, every single night to try to get one of these tanks. But the top clans can get so far ahead that they can put people in position where they cannot be overtaken, and then they can grab more people and drag them up. And so they can, instead of getting my clan might get, I don't know, 7 tanks tops. There's only 1,200 tanks total this season. So my clan might get 7 of those, and the top clans get 20 or 30 or more.
Do you already have one, or?
Nope. No, they're difficult to get.
Well, I'm excited to hear at the end of this if you succeed in getting one.
So I'm currently on track. I'm in the top 800, so I'm in the top 2/3 of the 1,200 who will get
Right,
the tank. But as the event goes on, more and more of the top clans will just like steamroll all the little guys. Like so, my only hope is that as I fall, I won't fall beyond 1,200.
I assume that you have tried this before.
So here's the funny thing: this tank, it was like the only thing that mattered. There's other rewards that you can get, other tanks, but most of them don't even hold a candle to the chieftain. So for the last year and a half, the chieftain has not been available as a reward. This is
interesting.
First time it's come back in a year and a half, almost 2 years. So that makes it even more hotly contested.
Yeah, everyone. It's a big deal for lots of people.
Yeah, so I just want to give you guys an example. We've played a ton of games. We've played almost every night, and my clan has you earn fame. Your clan also earns fame, and your clan's position modifies your rewards. Anyway, my clan is in the top 50, and we've earned roughly 3,500 fame over the course of these 3 days. The top clan, in those same days, has earned 256,000 fame.
So is this a rich get richer kind of thing, or is this?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's what'll blow your mind about this whole system. So they've earned 256,000. Just guess what the second top clan has earned.
56,000.
Okay, you're pretty close. Actually, closer than I thought you would. Number 2 has earned 97,000. So
oh wow, so there's a big old spread.
Is more than doubled the second top clan. And
I would have thought that I would have thought there would have been more top clans closer to each other.
Right. Yeah.
Well, there's such a disparity though. We're in 50th place or around 50th, and we have 3,000.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they have just so far outpaced all the rest of us. And I wouldn't call us a top clan by any means, but the top 10 have 10 times to 200 times as much as we have. It blows my mind how far ahead they can get. So when you're earning that much, it's easy to like bury everyone else.
I love it as a window into a world of madness that even I probably cannot comprehend.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited to check in at the end and see how your hopes and dreams have been crushed.
Well, the funny thing is my old clan, they're struggling. Like, they're not all that great, but anyway, they're around 100 rank, and they have 878 fame.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's such a disparity between the bottom and the top. And the bottom guys will never even get a chance. They won't even be close to ever getting a tank. It's frustrating for a lot of us. All right, Boba Fett.
Okay, so I'm curious as a precursor or prelude to this. At the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian, they did a teaser saying, coming soon, the Book of Boba Fett. What was your guys's reaction to that / hype levels?
I was excited.
Before Disney managed to crush all your hopes and dreams.
Those are making some big assumptions, Jay.
Oh.
I would say cautiously optimistic. Like it wasn't necessarily a story that I was interested in, but I will say at the end of Mandalorian season 2, like Fennec Shand was a cool character, so it was going to be interesting to see. I mean, I like that actress a lot too, right?
Yeah.
It was going to be interesting
to
see her. Yeah, thank you. To see her character in that. But yeah, I would say cautiously optimistic. Mainly, I was optimistic because they knocked it out of the park with The Mandalorian. But any trepidation I had was trepidation because what they had done so amazingly with The Mandalorian was tell a new story, right? Like it was a new character with some ties to the Star Wars universe that most of us know and love, right? And so I'm starting to, the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't know if I need to retread certain characters or revisit certain characters. You know what I mean?
So
I mean, I think that's something that Star Wars has kind of struggled with in general.
yeah, that's true. But this is not a character that's been overtread.
No, that's fair, Trevor. Yeah.
Like
That's
I
why
mean,
I say I was
the,
mostly optimistic. If I had any trepidation, it was very minor.
Of the characters that they have, tread too much of,
Revisited too much.
He's not necessarily one of them. Although
Let's
Jay's
say
going
let's
to
say
come in and say that he's overhyped, which I don't necessarily agree with, but whatever.
let's say that you consider Tatooine a character. That would be something
Oh
that
my
you
god,
could say.
that's a fair complaint.
That is something you could say is over visited or overtread.
I assume it's a cheap set though.
It must be. I don't. Yeah.
Like just pour out some dirt.
I don't think it's
here
that
there.
cheap. I don't think it's
Probably
that
not.
cheap. If you talk about trying to film in a place that has no vegetation or very little vegetation, it gets actually more difficult than you think. It's like when they filmed
Sure.
Fury Road, they had to digitally remove tons of vegetation because it was just everywhere. Even in the most desolate places on Earth, we just have a lot of things that make it look like Earth.
Those thinking plants.
So I'm sure that it's probably not as cheap as you think. I think that they probably place it there because of where we left his character off at. But I agree with you guys. It's like, give me a new planet, give me something different.
I mean, if I think back to the Mandalorian season 2, one of my favorite episodes of that season was the one where I'm blanking on her name right now because because I'm old, but also it's the morning. But Anakin's apprentice,
Ahsoka Tano.
so yes, okay. So you meet her, and it's kind of this, and it's this planet that it just looks and feels different than a lot of the things you've seen before, and it's a really cool setting, and it looks visually interesting, and I just thought it was a fantastic episode. And if you contrast that, and there was also a lot of fun things going on in the episode,
Yeah.
but the setting definitely contributed to it being a good episode. And if you contrast that with, here we go again on Tatooine, it's a pretty big difference.
Well,
and look, Jay.
of my
Go ahead, Trevor.
I was going to say one of my complaints about all planets in the Star Wars universe is and I'm going to make a little hyperbole statement here, but I can't think of anything that goes outside of this, is that they are one biome.
Right, yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
through the entire planet.
You are on desert planet. You are on water planet.
For reasons I
Forest
don't
planet,
understand.
city planet.
Swamp planet, I think.
It drives me a little insane. Like
that's
look,
fair.
Jay. Here's the thing about. I agree with you that Tatooine as a character has been overused, but the whole vibe I got by the time I got to the end of the Book of Boba Fett is, oh man, they found the warehouse with the old Jabba's palace playset and the Rancor toys and the Gamorrean. I mean, they found the warehouse and they have got to get these things. I mean, it's a Saturday morning cartoon all over again. They got to unload all those old toys, right? Because that's what they did this whole series.
I guess for me to go back to answer my own question, I saw Book of Boba Fett being announced, and I was like, but I was not excited for it because I don't really find.
You don't like Boba Fett.
I don't find the character interesting.
Yeah.
But I also was like, after The Mandalorian was so successful, I was like at least intrigued, thinking that at least I'm going to get a good Star Wars show, and A, and B, it will likely give me a reason to care about Boba Fett finally. So
instead, Jay gets a big old serving of confirmation bias.
Point of order, sir. I'm not sure it's confirmation bias when Disney basically takes all of my biases and makes a series that says, yes, Jay, you were right all along.
That is the cognitive dissonance. I just don't understand.
All amazing. Okay, but can we just agree though that like they actually ended up, and it did stink a little of desperation to me. They basically packed 2 series into this. Like,
Well,
am I wrong? Spoiler alert here. Like,
yeah, sure.
what we really got
at this
was
point,
the start of season 3 of The Mandalorian. And speaking of planets being cool, I mean, yes, I know Halo was a great video game, but I did like the whole ring world setting as something to,
that was
although
cool.
to Trevor's point, it still is sort of the same biome, right? Like,
Whoa. No, don't drag me into your complaint. I actually love the ring world.
you're the one who said the same biome thing. Is the ring world not
It's
a same biome?
It's a ring world. What do
Okay,
you
fine.
expect?
No, I'm not complaining about it. The truth is, okay, I'm going to say here that the Book of Boba Fett was worth watching for that episode alone, period. I mean, really all I needed was just that episode, which is 4, I think, right?
No, 5
Is
when,
5 where, oh yeah, it's 5 when the Mandalorian
5
season
is
3
when
starts.
the show actually stops sucking.
Although I have some questions about the final episode.
Well, yeah, I mean they had to have, Robert Rodriguez film the finale to bring us back to the dark times of episode 1 and 3.
The dark times. Also, I cannot. Oh, I just remember Danny Trejo. I wish there had been more of him. Like, I did love that part.
I've been cracking jokes at it. I am curious. Trevor, I think it's safe to say that you're probably, of the 3 of us, the one who likes or is intrigued the most by Boba Fett. Would you say that's true?
I guess so. Maybe by default.
I don't think there's that big a gap between Trevor and I. Like, but part of that's like nostalgia. Like, I mean, I rode on my dad's shoulders to watch Return of the Jedi in the theater, right? And so that's the first time old people like me saw Boba Fett, and he did seem cool at that time, right? Like,
he's a lot cooler.
Sorry, I guess he's in Empire too. Yeah, you're right. But there's a lot of nostalgia there. You know what I mean?
Sure. So, I guess as 2 Star Wars fans who aren't Boba Fett curmudgeons like I am, what is your opinion? Your overarching opinion of the series?
I am disappointed with what they've done with the Boba Fett character.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
I mean, I feel as much as I joke about, this.
You feel bad? Is that what you're about to say?
No, I honestly do, because, I know that this is a character that is important to a lot of people, and this was a chance for them to finally do some cool things, flesh out this character. He has had, my understanding is that he has had a fair bit of fleshing out in books, but, that's not TV or movies, and so there was a cool opportunity for that.
It has a different weight, right?
Yeah, there was fleshing out in Clan Wars as well. You got to know him as a child, so I mean,
and I would have liked to have had those fans be able to be like, wow, this is really cool or whatever, and I would have liked for me to have had some reason after watching this to care about this character, but I feel bad that it ended up the way that it for them.
The funny thing is a lot of the hardcore fans. I mean, one of our mutual acquaintances, a friend of mine, he's a super fan of Boba Fett, and I don't think he was ever swayed at all during that. I think he enjoyed it every second of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean the amount of cognitive dissonance from that group is probably enough to overcome, but for me it was not. I expected a man of little words who almost never took his helmet off, who was the quintessential badass, and he was none of those things.
Really, my biggest issue that is just so bewildering to me is that they portrayed him in this series as just this wildly incompetent character who is always outgunned and never knows the lay of the land, and just thinks that people should respect him by default for, as near as I can tell, no reason, when he is outgunned and does not seem to realize that, I guess. So, I mean, what is cool about that?
Nothing. I mean,
Well,
Frank,
yeah,
right?
I did have some tonal whiplash in a couple occasions, like I'll just say it, like, especially in that last episode, like, him and the Mando are holed up in the ruin, and you're like, oh, this is about to be a, Alamo kind of moment, like, and then what's that, the freaking Majors.
Real quick, Josh.
Yes.
As a quick pause, that last episode, the opening scene, Boba Fett is standing in the bombed out building with his helmet off, and I was just like, once again, he is not wearing a helmet because who knows why. And then that last Alamo scene, finally, he has his helmet on for like 2 contiguous minutes in the series, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. I don't understand why this hasn't happened up to this point.
So the vibe I'm getting from both my co-hosts, Jay more than Trevor, is I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Right. I mean, I am disappointed. I've said this online on Twitter or in our Discord that I really had hopes that Jon Favreau was going to be this Kevin Feige person for Star Wars who will usher us into a golden era of Star Wars that is sorely needed, in my opinion. And he is the person who wrote every episode of the Book of Boba Fett. He did have, Dave Filoni did co-write episode 6, but my confidence has been shaken on him becoming the new Kevin Feige for Star Wars, I guess.
To be fair, I think there was some director control that happened on some of those, and maybe some of the art that.
I'm sure. I think that Robert Rodriguez should never be allowed to touch Star Wars ever again. But
I don't know.
Faith
like,
for
what else
that
has Robert Rodriguez done then?
The worst episodes of The Mandalorian, he did. He also did horror movies that you will never watch, and I don't. Even I, as someone who likes horror movies, they're not a style that I particularly like. So,
he's done a lot of films, and I actually like a lot of the things he's done, but I think that he's too caught up maybe in his own style to see that his style doesn't mesh well with Star Wars.
Sure.
I don't know if that's fair to say, but I just don't think his vision of Star Wars doesn't mesh with mine. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. The episode of Mandalorian where kind of you meet up with Boba Fett and they're doing like a fight, and it looks like it is on the original Star Trek, one of their like crappy sets.
That's the one
out
where
in the California
Grogu's
desert.
like doing the thing on top of the ball or whatever, right?
Right, doing the beacon or whatever.
Yeah.
That was one that
Okay.
that Rodriguez directed.
So really, I can blame Rodriguez for the death of the Razor Crest.
Yes, probably.
Good. Yes. Okay, excellent.
So Trevor, I guess either of you, what did you feel went right or went wrong? I mean, am I over? Am I letting my?
I'm gonna give my
Boba
brief
glasses?
answer to that question. Yes, your glasses are probably affecting your judgment a little bit because while you are disappointed, you are also deeply gleeful to be validated, I guess, is probably or vindicated is probably the better term. I feel like what went wrong, and I just feel like because of the way it ended, is like in the end, I didn't feel like there was any character growth. There wasn't an arc in the character of Boba Fett specifically, right? Like, and that's what I feel like they wanted to do. They wanted to tell the story of this, like, certified bad A who, is looking back on his life and is being like, you know what, I could be better. And of course survived like essentially near death, blah, blah, blah. Like, And then in the end, they didn't tell that story, because I feel like that's what they did. They spent 3 episodes of, political capital, essentially, saying like, okay, this is the story we're going to tell. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm willing to come along for that ride, I guess. And then, we get 3 episodes of The Mandalorian, which is loosely connected. And then the final episode is like, just kidding. This is still a dude that just, incompetently kills his way out of everything. So
No. Everyone around him kills.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's the part that drives me nuts. Is like
he was like a stormtrooper in the end.
Fennec Shand held this whole show together in more ways than one.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. Like, she's the one that kills everything. She's the one that keeps the, I'm just like, why?
I did appreciate.
Why is she still following him?
Yes, there is that question that has no answer, and I kind of appreciated that at the end of the finale, like one of the closing scenes is of her being a badass and
saving the biker gang, the scooter gang.
No, her going in and doing like the hit on.
Oh yeah, right, on the Pikes and
yes,
and the 3 family heads. Yeah, right. Yeah, that was totally rad. I think what we don't know is that when he took her to that mod dude and rebuilt her guts or whatever, there's one of those little binder things that they put on droids, and that's why she's still loyal to Boba Fett. It's not her fault, Jay.
So I've cut you off a few times, Trevor. Go ahead with your thoughts.
So one of the best parts of this series is Cad Bane. And Cad Bane was a great character from Clone Wars, and seeing him here was amazing.
They did really good with him here.
Yeah, they did fantastic. It was great.
Okay.
My issue, though, is that Cad Bane in this situation is everything that I thought we should have gotten from Boba Fett.
A, I agree with that. B, I don't feel like we can say that Cad Bane was great when, in my opinion...
Sorry, I only mean like the makeup and that's what I mean. Not...
Okay.
Not...
Okay, the character was cool. One of my big complaints about this series is that they introduced Cad Bane too late and he died too early.
Totally legitimate complaint.
And real quick,
you really think he's dead?
I hope not. It kind of.
I mean,
they make it seem like he is.
We threw Boba Fett in the Sarlacc pit, and that didn't seem
sure.
Believe, so.
Yeah, and hopefully not.
The plot armor's thick in this series.
It is. Real quick, on some of my complaints again, and this is going to tee up Trevor to do one of his complaints, so I'm excited about that.
Oh yes, teeing up.
So this series had a structure, in my opinion, where you have the first 4 episodes, and then you have episodes 5 and 6 that are basically the start of the new season of The Mandalorian, and then you have the season finale,
which is the crossover.
Yes, exactly. And so part of my issue is that you have the first episode and it's kind of setting things up. Okay, that's fine. And then you get to episode 2 and it felt to me that episode 2 was like a bad Dune ripoff. It felt like there was just so many things. I was like, what are you even doing? Like him going and training with the Sand People felt like the Fremen. There was spice. There was a scene of water, falling down on the people. Just over and over, it felt like kind of a Dune ripoff to me. And then we get to episode 3, where we get to have Pentatonics Week, Star Wars on Tatooine.
Pentatonics Week. Sorry. Carry on.
And then we have the chase scene, which Trevor has already ranted about, but I wish to hear more ranting about.
So, in the making of the original Star Wars film, I'm sure many of us have heard or seen it, or maybe you don't remember, but I'll remind you. One of the things that George Lucas said he wanted to bring as the setting of Star Wars was the feeling of being old and used. He wanted a universe that felt like it was thousands of years old, and that everything looked like it was well worn, well used. So fast forward to episode 3 of the Book of Boba Fett, and we get 5 Vespa mopeds with shiny,
Each with 20 rear view mirrors.
baubles
Incredible
and
chrome. Yeah.
things on them that are so clashed against the rest of the universe that I felt physically ill. The scene where the 5 of them pull up to the city hall or whatever, I believe that to be the worst scene ever put to film in the Star Wars universe, and I'm going to include the Christmas episode. Like, it's just so jarring and odd to me. And to be fair, that's a whole lot of hyperbole. I have not seen the Christmas episode since I was a little kid.
Mm.
But the point being is it took me so far out of the whole cyborg biker gang thing. Could have been done so
Could have
much
potentially
better.
been cool.
Well, yeah, the cyborgs themselves were kind of interesting, right? Like
Yes, to a degree, but make them look more like Darth
grungy,
Vader.
right? Grungy.
Yeah, grungy. The things they have should look like they were stolen off of a 150-year-old droid, not manufactured yesterday.
I mean, they look like they could have walked off the set of
Go
Blade
Power
Runner.
Rangers. Oh, Blade Runner. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, both of those, to be fair.
Yours was kind
Yeah.
of Jay.
Here's the problem. Even Blade Runner looks dingier and darker than those guys. They don't even fit there. That's how bad it is. So I just
when you had said the worst scene, I'd kind of assumed that you were going to be saying the low speed chase.
that bugged me bad too, but I was already at that point I was
irritated.
so pissed off that I would just basically tune out. The truth is every time the mopeds were, because they didn't look anything like biker gang bikes. I mean, this is the gang that you would laugh at in real life if they were driving these Vespa mopeds around. Every scene that those bikes were in, I immediately just lost interest by about 80%.
Now, just so I'm clear, it's the scenes where the bikes were there, not necessarily the modded people, or did it?
Yes, I at least can somewhat ignore them.
Because that's how I felt. I agree. Like the bikes were like, what happened here? Like who shook some Lucky Charms into my Star Wars?
The speed chase where they're going like, and I actually blocked it out of my memory. So when Jay brought it back, now I've got a whole bunch more to say. In Empire Strikes Back, in Return of the Jedi, you see speeders that when we were kids watching them fly through the trees, you're like, holy crap, I don't know how they could possibly drive through that. Fast forward to episode 3, the Vespa mopeds are doing a race at a grand top speed of 10 miles an hour. And I'm thinking, geez, my grandmother could drive through that town like that. And I'm like, I just don't understand how there could be such a
Disconnect.
difference. Yeah, just a disconnect between these speeder bikes running through the forest from 40 years ago and the speeder bikes that are having a tough time eclipsing 15 miles an hour. It was so strange.
Maybe it was meant to be a nod to how old the audience is, Trevor.
Well, then they should have put them on like speeder walkers or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was so painful, that whole section. Anything to do with the bikers in there was, yeah. The scenes where their bikes were not involved, I was able.
They're okay. Yeah, sure.
I don't care too much for their appearance, but I could at least not be taken out of the scene emotionally, mentally.
Yeah.
The bikes were just such a disconnect that I immediately got taken out of Star Wars.
Okay, before we get to grading, which I think we're about to get to, I just have a question about how you guys felt like. So episode 5, Mandalorian, which by the way, the armor is the new, for me at least, the new Boba Fett. Like, just a certified bad A, like, right? I wonder how you guys feel like that scene played out, with the Darksaber and the whole. Do you feel like it does a good job of setting up, like, hey, I can't even say his actual name, Din Djarin or whatever. The Mandalorian is gonna have some real motivation to go to Mandalore and try to go to. What did they say to him at the end? Like, he's not a Mandalorian anymore until he goes to the wells of something or other, right?
Right. I mean, it feels like they have set up season 3 of The Mandalorian is going to be Din,
like a quest for his redemption, right?
Redeeming himself and establishing himself as the leader of Mandalore, or of the Mandalorians.
Reluctantly,
I guess.
Thomas Jefferson style. Oh, you guys, I don't really want to be president.
I had an issue a little bit with the fight scene where this Darksaber continues to get heavier. I agree. I don't recall it ever doing that before in any. I mean, it's not like this is our first introduction to the Darksaber. It's been in lots of media prior to this,
right?
And I don't remember it ever being anything like that. That was a little odd, but I'm willing to at least
give it a chance.
Yeah, give it a chance.
Because he was fighting the blade. Come on, Trevor. He was.
Okay.
It did.
Are you saying that Moff Gideon was not fighting the blade?
Clearly not. Yeah, he was fully leaned into it, baby. I don't know. I think it's a fair complaint. Like,
I agree. I am curious. So obviously this is going to be my reaction, but I'm curious how you guys felt. So kind of sandwich in the middle of this turd sandwich, we have 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. To me, I was like, oh my gosh, they do remember how to make a good show. It was a little bit of a relief. But I'm curious what your guys' reaction was.
I agree that, like I said, episode 5 totally worth all the other. Well, maybe not worth the Vespas, but most of the other baggage of the series, right? Episode 6, I feel really conflicted about because of. I'm just going to say it because of the choice that is pressed upon Baby Yoda in the end.
Luke being a butthead.
Yes.
I mean, wasn't he essentially teaching the same way he'd been taught, or am I wrong? Like, I'm not trying to excuse his behavior, right? But like, that's how they set him up to be.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically the choice that Yoda gives him when he goes off to help his friends. Is if you leave here, you'll never be a Jedi Master.
Yeah, so it's paybacks to Yoda's entire race.
Amazing.
I'm not a fan of some of the things.
I mean, I will say
honestly,
that I'm most okay with it because what it does is it sets up, the Mandalorian, our samurai with the baby on his back again, and it's like, that's what we're here for. So yes, give me what I want.
I'm glad that it set that back up. Again, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed that that they wasted this. Like, why are they making episodes of The Mandalorian in the Book of Boba Fett? Why isn't this just Boba Fett being a badass? Why isn't Boba Fett being a badass? If you're not going to do something interesting with this character, why didn't you just make season 3 of The Mandalorian?
That is a completely fair question, especially when we see what that can be.
I don't understand why 5 and 6 were even a part of this season. Why is Din Djarin even involved? Like, I understand that they have a history and etc. And I feel like he can be, a part of this. And I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy 5 and 6. They were the best of the series, but they should have been. I totally agree.
But it's an issue that the best part of the series is
a different series.
Yeah, it's the Mandalorian.
The best parts of this series in every episode are not Boba Fett.
Correct.
The best part of episode 3 was the Rancor. I mean, the best part of episode. I don't know.
You can maybe episode 7.
Well, but that's still the Rancor again.
Well, it's Boba riding the Rancor.
I mean, there is that one amazing shot where the Rancor throws the droid up and Boba finally makes a shot. So, that was cool.
And real quick, another thing that just kind of annoyed me about Din and etc. is just like Fennec is like, we're massively or Boba, we're massively outgunned. What can we do? And they're like, I know, we'll recruit one person.
and then
Brilliant.
we'll make that one person recruit guys for us. Like, what the? Are you kidding me?
Good old Freetown.
I'm like, that drove me insane. He comes back to him and he's like, well, that was quick. And they're like, well, did you get anybody? And he's like, well, I got Freetown. And they're like, well, that'll have to do. Like, what were you guys doing this whole time? What the? Are you kidding me? You guys need to be out recruiting.
Are you telling me that's not good management, Trevor?
Oh, gosh.
Amazing.
I just honestly, this whole thing could have been made. I'll make it better in 3 easy steps. Remove the shitty Vespa bikes.
Okay.
Put on Boba Fett's helmet and remove 75
religiously, right?
Yes, don't take it off. Maybe once the entire season. And the third one is remove 70 to 80% of his dialogue. Make Fennec say everything. Have him nod. Have him shake his head. He should be. And I said this on the Discord, and I'm going to say it here.
Have some mystery to him.
Yes, have some mystery to him. This is a space western, and he is the man with no name in space. That's what he should be. That's where you should think of him. He should be, the good, the bad, the ugly in space. And it is not at all what you get.
I mean, I'll add a fourth thing that it feels like this shouldn't have to be stated, but it evidently does, because of what has happened in the series. But approach the character with the mind frame that he is a badass and hyper competent, because at no point did he feel that way in the series.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's supposed to be the best bounty hunter in the universe, like the one bounty hunter that can stand up or mouth off to Darth Vader, and Darth Vader will actually tolerate it. He is the first person that Darth Vader goes to, and the first person that the Hutts go to have their issues resolved. Clearly, in the past, he had some competence. Where did it go?
He got soft in his old age. Which was a great line. I'm sorry.
I'm here to tell you that I don't care how soft you get in your old age, you don't lose that much competence unless you've basically, had some sort of mental breakdown.
Well, Trevor, have you ever been digested by a weird worm creature? Huh? Have you?
No.
Okay.
Let's go on to
grading time.
He does not appear to have Alzheimer's, so I'm assuming that he still has some of his mental capacity.
Oh, dark. That's dark.
Versus design.
Design, yes.
So I did like episodes 5 and 6, but it almost feels like I shouldn't give credit to those because they do feel like season 3 of The Mandalorian.
That's true. I mean, I feel like I grade those episodes at an 8. I grade everything else at a 5, being generous.
Oh, I think I would give this like a 2 or a 3. It feels just like a huge failure. It feels like a huge missed opportunity.
Okay.
You should note that Bryce Dallas Howard, Ron Howard's daughter, and Dave Filoni are the 2 directors of episodes 5 and 6. Clearly, they have been amazing throughout The Mandalorian. They have done such a great job. Dave Filoni is, he is the heart and soul.
He's the potential Kevin Feige. He's Star Wars.
He's done it for years at this point. I still have faith in Jon Favreau and Dave. But clearly they know what they're doing on the episodes that they direct. And maybe it's partly the material that they were handed, but they handed it to themselves. I believe both of them are involved as producing the show as well. So they're like, let us take the best episodes for ourselves and we'll give the rest to other directors.
Smart move.
But, I've already said the things that I dislike. I don't really like the idea of somehow. Here's another thing that drove me nuts: is the baddest man in the land has a training scene with the Tusken Raiders. Like what? Like all of a sudden he's forgot how to be a bounty hunter, and they're like, "Let us teach you how to fight. We, the Sand People of Arrakis."
All right, what's your What's your score, Trevor, on design?
There's so much about it that I really like, but there's so much about it that
But
I
the
really hate.
Vespas, Trevor, how far do the Vespas pull your grade down? Come on, baby.
Like when every time you say that word, I'm like 0 or 1. But then I think of a lot of the other things in the show, and it brings it up. But I just like this is the part that really just missed the mark. The writing fell off. Set design felt off. The choice of planet felt off. Like we could have had him, come out of the
Sarlacc.
Sarlacc and had him spend some time, off planet, or just trying to reform himself somewhere else. I don't. So much is wrong. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Wow!
Really, there's so much about it I just disliked.
I was too powerful with my Vespa comment. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to divest myself from 5 and 6 because I don't feel like they're Book of Boba Fett episodes. I feel like
they're Mandalorian.
Mandalorian episodes that have been shoved into the rest of it. So I'm
right.
not even putting those into my grade.
A savage grade from the Chain Attack crew. Wow. On to time management. This was a wobbly for me. There were a couple episodes that I was like, what? This is how long? Oh, geez. I can't remember if it was episode 2 or 3, but time management.
One of my friends, I think he said this before episode 4, but he said, he's like, okay, well, I'm about to have the 45 most disappointing minutes of the week.
Oh, savage. Anyway,
it's it feels fine to me.
It's just average to me.
Yeah.
I'm just giving it a 5 again on time management. Jay,
yeah, that's fine.
This is the damning with faint praise episode. Good gravy. Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. There was no episode that I felt like it was
too long.
That it has way overstayed its welcome.
Yeah, but it never left me wanting more either, which is another thing that brings it down, at least.
Episodes 5 and 6, which aren't really part of the series, but
no, I'm going to be fair. I mean, they felt like the right length.
Okay.
They maybe left me wanting a little more. Yeah, I guess I agree. I just there was a couple episodes where I fell asleep during the episode, and I was forced to go back and rewatch a section, and that was actually painful to have to go back, find out figure out where I fell asleep. So to me, that is not great. Anyway, yeah, it feels like 5, maybe even 4.
Let's go repeatability. So I'm gonna have to rewatch the series because I watch it without my family, and they are going to want to see episodes 5 and 6.
And you can just start at episode 5.
I literally was considering that. Like, I'm like, am I a bad person if I'm just like, come on, kids, let's watch the next season of The Mandalorian. Oh, they put a weird name in the title, but it's The Mandalorian. Yeah. So I give it a slight up, like just above average. But again, because of episodes 5 and 6. Oh, jeez, I feel so bad about that. It's a 6 for me. Trevor?
I think I'm going to go back and rewatch a little bit of it. Specifically...
maybe you can get a VidAngel subscription that will edit out the Vespas.
Yeah, maybe. I'll probably rewatch episodes 4, 5, 6, and 7. There are more redeeming things in all of those than there are in the first 3. Like, I just think that the first 3 could have been compounded into one, give us an idea of why and it could have been completely rewritten to make it more sense as to why he's this crime lord all of a sudden.
Right.
Which I mean, okay.
We didn't really talk about it, but I was kind of interested in the motivation. Like, is it episode 4 where he gets his ship back?
Yes.
Or is it episode? Okay. Like that conversation between him and Fennec Shand, I found that to be potentially interesting, right? Where he's like, I'm tired of working for other people who are stupid, So then his solution was to be the stupid person that other people work for. Kind of interesting. But all right.
Anyway,
repeatability.
I don't think I'm going to go back and rewatch some. There is some really cool stuff in here though, so I'll probably pick and choose a little bit. So
sure.
I'm going to give it a 4. I'll pick and choose some stuff, but I don't think I'll ever go back and rewatch the entire series.
Okay.
I'll give it a 3 mostly because it for a Star Wars property, it has very, very low repeatability for me. I will still rewatch parts of it, but
Yeah.
probably just
I'll
episode
rewatch
5 and on.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll rewatch the sections with Cad Bane just because I always thought he was kind of a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to fun. The fun category. Pretty mixed bag here, I'm gonna guess, from people.
I mean, we keep saying that episodes 5 and 6 aren't part of the series. They technically are, and I did enjoy those. I would not. And we've said fun, or we've also said entertained, entertainment value, I guess. For
Yeah.
this one,
Yeah.
and neither of them are high for me except for episodes 5 and 6.
I've had fun pissing on the whole thing.
Brutal. I mean, I think there were parts of episode 7 that were still quite a lot of fun. You know, from a like, I had the
Yes.
feeling of mashing my action figures together. You know.
There
were some very cool parts in the finale, but there was also the parts that were like so frustrating for me. Of like, okay, well, here we are again. Boba Fett didn't realize he was going to be massively outgunned,
And betrayed.
and he is.
Yeah, I mean, why in every other scene or movie that involves somebody who's highly intelligent, they almost always get betrayed just like this, but then they have a backup plan. Like he's like totally blindsided by this. Like, well, WTF? I just got why would you guys do that?
Yeah.
And that's it. That's his big plan. I'm like, are you kidding me? You haven't set up any sort of ambushes or backup plans that the audience is not aware of, and all of a sudden we get revealed to, and we're like, holy crap, he was way smart. Like,
I mean,
all
the
the other...
Rancor was kind of that, but it wasn't set up like you're saying. It was a desperate gambit, right?
Yeah. I will say that I'm going to give this probably a higher score than you guys expect, because if I pick and choose from each episode sections that were fun, there are some really memorable moments throughout all of this. The problem is that the name of the show is the Book of Boba Fett, and all of those memorable moments, or the vast majority of those memorable moments, don't involve him. They are callbacks to characters from other series, like the Wookiee and Cad Bane and all these other people that are just and Grogu and Din Djarin. I mean, these are all people who are fantastic characters, and there are these great highlights, and every one of them I was excited for, but none of them have their name on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I think that it was quite fun, and if I could just have a quick YouTube clip of all of those moments, I'd give it like a 9 or a 10. So I'm going to say the show's going to be a 7 or 8 here. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit, more than maybe, but I just every time Baba was on the screen, I'm just like, why are you
Here we go again.
Why are you back in the back to tank?
Yeah, for me it's a 6, and part of it is probably because I binged 4 episodes last night. That may have affected my enjoyment just a tiny bit, but I think I agree with a lot of what Trevor's saying. Like you could string together some really sweet clips, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the 3 just because, like, yes, there are
Brutal.
fun moments in the series, but like it feels like I shouldn't spend as much time upset at the TV series as I was watching this show.
Jay would not make a good gold miner. He doesn't want to spend hours and hours finding little tiny nuggets.
It's probably why he's not in your World of Tanks guild.
Probably, yeah.
I'm not sure why.
Overall, team. Weirdly, I think my overall is lower than the sum of its parts, because I feel like I'm gonna give it a 4. I feel bad about that, but I only feel bad about it for episodes 5 and 6.
It's sad that a Star Wars property is probably not going to get a second season. That says something.
Well, I mean, honestly, why would you make a second season of this as opposed to another season
More
of The
Mando.
Mandalorian?
Yeah, right.
Because they're making seasons of everything. We're getting Ahsoka. We're getting.
I'm like they have already greenlit season 2 of Andor before season 1 is shown. But no word yet on season 2 of this show. So
I mean, I'm probably wrong. They'll probably put together a second season, and I hope that they redeem the character and the story. But
Maybe it'll be Fennec Shand just, visiting him at a nursing home.
yeah, I'm super excited for the Book of Fennec Shand Part 2. But they're going to keep coming to this well. Clearly, I mean, they've got all kinds of series lined up. So that's
Well, they've got all these sets
Yeah.
for Tatooine they got to keep using. So
I don't know if you know this, Josh, but they're not green screen. They're a special round room with a special type of screen in the background that makes it look like they're on a planet or a different location. Have you seen?
Is that for real? Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
I'll see if I can. Have you ever watched the making of the Mandalorian?
I haven't. I tend to avoid makings as a character flaw, because I'm
That's
like,
fine. It's
I
not.
don't actually want to see what's behind the magic, but maybe I would be interested still.
Yeah. You should. I'll see if I can find a short clip of it. But basically, it's a really large round room with screens that make the background. It's the brand new thing where the actors have an opportunity to react to what they're seeing. And so instead of acting in front of a green screen, they're acting in front of a very large
Right.
TV. It's actually quite fascinating. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that is cool.
But it makes for pretty cheap sets. Honestly, they don't
Yeah.
have to do a whole lot.
Interesting. Okay, well that's good.
So, Trevor, what is your overall number?
5. It's a pretty average show.
Okay.
Or 4. I just don't think it's all that outstanding.
I will continue with the 3, and mostly.
I can't believe you don't move the overall up, Jay, just because of the joy you've had at being vindicated.
I mean, it just feels like such a huge missed opportunity for me, and that is, it's a 3 of disappointment. So,
All right. Well, I guess we're all semi-goes. Maybe Jay's a no-go.
I mean, if you are a Star Wars fan, you're going to watch it. If you're not, you're not. And
Yeah.
so,
That's probably a fair description of the audience. All right.
all right, let us know what you guys think, and let us know how we're wrong, I guess.
Yeah, I have to get used to that, so please do.